Hello. Hi, everyone. Does everyone see us? Let us know if you hear us okay. Amber, can you check your mic?
Yep, I'm good. Testing. 1, 2. Hello, everybody.
You sound like a robot.
You sounded like a robot just a second ago.
Just teasing you.
Are you serious? You're just teasing me? Don't give me a heart attack like that. That's not funny.
Okay, I'm
See, my
sorry.
anxiety levels up after
I'm
last time when
sorry.
we had a lot of robotic work, right?
Yeah, I had, hello, everyone. Hi, Bonnie, Iris, hi, Sandra, Barbara, Rosa, Lori. Yeah, hi, Lori. I hope you're feeling better, Lori. So, I had an accident today earlier in the morning. And no, I'm serious. So I drive. Do you hear me, Amber? I have to know if you hear me.
I do. Yeah.
Oh,
You got into
okay.
an accident this morning.
And on my way to work.
That's
Thank
not
you,
good,
Natty.
but I'm glad you're safe.
And you'd be surprised. You know what car I drive?
I have no idea. The last time I saw you were in the biggest SUV I've ever seen in my life.
So I drive a Tesla. And I bring that out because you would think that Tesla doesn't have any accidents.
Because it's supposed to drive itself.
Yeah. So it's on auto drive. And I grabbed down to take a tissue. A tissue box was on the right passenger side on the bottom. And literally, I picked myself up and I was going headfirst into a electric pole. And luckily, I was able to swerve right out, but my car is totaled.
Oh my gosh, but you're safe.
I can't even
Wow.
explain you what I hit because I didn't hit the electric pole. I'm not sure what damaged the car, but it was smoking up. I didn't even know a Tesla could smoke up. It doesn't have an engine, but.
Okay, so I got a question for you. So I've seen the Teslas that have the bat wings that raise up and they come back down. Is that the really cool car that you drive?
No, I don't have such a cool one. I have the basic one, but no, I was very surprised. Right? I was very surprised that it can actually go off the road. I don't know if you know how it works. You can actually turn it on.
Yeah.
And it won't go out of the lane. So I really can't understand what happened.
Yeah.
And if you go out of the lane, it'll start beeping like crazy.
Yes, mine does that, but it has to be able to see the lane lines. And if you know where I live,
right.
It's just a big wide asphalt country road with no lines. I can't use the lane assist out in the country because there's no lines to look at. So my car just, I gotta make sure I'm like on high alert all the time. So it's, but yeah, isn't that wild how that all works?
Crazy. So by the way, Sandra, I see you have one also. Welcome to the club. So if I stutter or if I say anything stupid.
He's got a concussion, guys.
I'm just letting you know.
Vibration therapy for you for a few days.
Yes, Kara, it's a live show video, but I'm telling you, I'm still shaken up. It took me like a few hours and whatever. I'm still not sure if I'm here, but I'm alive and well. I was nervous if I'm going to miss this live. I didn't want to let anyone down. So I'm glad I'm here. So what is up, Amber? How are you? Sorry, I was talking so much.
No, I think it's great because you guys, I actually got to speak with Joel this morning. It's always a privilege when I get to talk to Joel because he and I are both like crazy busy in our own worlds with lots of family and things going on. So you talked to me this morning and it was early, and you talked to me kind of late last night, and we were both tired. And so, this morning I was all cleaning and lots of stuff to get done, and it's been an awesome day. So I'm super excited to be here with all of you guys, and life is good. We're all here in one piece, and we're all speaking and using our senses. Life is good. Gratitude, man. Gratitude.
100%. By the way, you're really lucky that you have a Life Pro t-shirt before me. Mine is on the way.
Why is that, Joel?
I don't know.
For those in the crowd, I had this custom made for me because I was craving the opportunity and the privilege to wear the brand all over my body. And so I had it made with Joel's permission. So
wow, so lucky. So by the
can't
way,
wait until
everyone,
we all
before
get
we get started, I just want to let everyone know, if you did not hear the podcast, it's a must. So let me know if you need the link. I'm going to post the link. So I think it's a very important podcast to listen to because it brings you back to the basics. Most of our viewers, I don't know if all the viewers, but most of us overthink the technology of vibration training. And we're going to go over the health benefits shortly, but listen to that podcast if you're driving, cooking, or whatever. And then I want you to do one more thing. After you listen, come back and share that one takeaway that you will implement from that podcast. All right, we got a deal? Awesome. Okay, so now let's get rolling. Joy, we will answer your question a little later. First, we're answering the questions that were sent in. Oh, you got it.
Yes, I do. So do you want me to save you some brain power and just kind of go off on some of these and see what, again, we're going to answer some of these because for those of you who are listening, and if you've never listened before or you don't know who I am, my name is Amber Kivett and I'm a medical provider. A lot of you didn't know that until you saw that I got the vaccine for COVID in my shoulder last weekend as a healthcare provider. I am a provider of sports medicine services. So I do a little bit of everything: sports medicine, sports performance, fitness, massage, body work. I do a form of acupuncture, do a lot of Eastern medicine type practices, and then I do a lot of mind work. So I bring everything full circle to the mind and the spirit as to how the body all comes together. And I personally have a history. I've got fibromyalgia, and I have recovered from 8 spinal injuries and head injury. So I totally know what you feel like today, Joel. I've been through 6 car accidents, and I come out on top. So you're going to come out on top today. But anyhow, this week was going to be a special week because we have so many of you who have reached out to us who have some form of autoimmune condition of the many, like the 80 plus different autoimmune conditions that are out there. Language is everything. I don't like to say autoimmune disease because it makes us feel like there's something truly wrong with us. And I don't let fibromyalgia define who Amber Kivett is. For people who listen to me, they know that I have it, but you don't know that I have it just from watching me because I don't let it define who I am. And I think that's really important from a mind-body standpoint and from the standpoint of using a lot of our technology is don't let a name define who you have to be. Of course, it comes back to being safe when it comes to your physicians giving you the go-ahead. But I'll tell you, a lot of the technology that physicians, especially autoimmune physicians, are following, a lot of this stuff is so new, and it is really hard when you are looking at research studies to really dial in on how it's going to help you as an individual, because autoimmune is stress-induced condition. So if you are all developing autoimmune problems because of stress, whether it's mental, physical, an accident, mine was a car accident that brought mine on. There's no possible way to control a lot of the things that you have to control for a study to be relative to a large population. So when it comes to trying some of our devices, especially the whole body vibration platforms, I want you all to approach it with not being afraid, because less is better when you're getting started. And if you're not sure if it's something that's going to bother you or not, just start like I'm sitting on a chair with my feet on a mat. I can move the device over in front of me, but it's not going to hurt you to put your feet on a device and just let the device move you. The vibration and the intensity from a seated position is so much less. And the thing we have to be careful about when we're reading research studies is a lot of those studies are conducted with very high powered vibration platforms, very different from what we offer in a residential setting. So don't be afraid of a clinical research study that you read. If it says it doesn't help or that there's no change, don't be afraid of that. Don't be limited to that. Let you be your own experiment, as long as we don't have any blood clot issues. And that's a big one. We are not generating electricity through our devices into your body. So when it comes to seizures and epileptic behavior, that a lot of those can be triggered suddenly from a visual, like a light or having electricity through you. So if you're in a seated position, for the most part, anybody and everybody, for the most part, can approach this treatment safely from home. It's when you stand up and you do a lot of other things without gradually introducing yourself to this that you start to feel a little different. So I welcome you to talk to your doctors and make sure that they are on board. But if they have no idea what you are talking about, don't be surprised, because a lot of doctors stay very tunnel vision in their own world. And it is up to you to look outside the box to see if there's other remedies to help you, because that's how I got healthy, was thinking way outside of the box of what the doctors were giving me options of, and just trying something and just seeing how my body adjusted. So today is more about autoimmune conditions, not disease, because I don't like to say disease. It makes us a victim. I like to be a survivor. I love that you are all here because you're all survivors. But I want you to all think about this as, if you have aches and pains, if you have autoimmune is related to inflammation in the body, and all of our devices, all of the vibration platforms, we know that they lower inflammation if used in lower doses. So you don't want to get on like the Rumble X Pro with all 3 motors running on a speed of 60 to lower levels of inflammation, because you're going to blow up. Like, that's not a good idea. Your body is going to swell, because that is a lot of energy for those of you who have never used our devices before. So do you want to cut in and say anything, Joel, before I start reading off some of these questions?
No, I think you're on point. And well, yeah, just the key point is to discover. Everyone has your own unique journey. And yeah, just explore.
Awesome.
But let's get it rolling. But
All right.
let me actually give you the center of attention.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oops.
Whoops.
No.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Okay, so one of the first questions we have on our sheet here, and these are all questions that you have shared with us through the last several weeks, that we have been watching through our different social media outlets, as well as questions that we have heard very consistently. And so we're just going to go through some of these, and I'm going to answer them as best as I can. For those of you who want the short version, I'm going to try and keep it short, but I know a lot of you like for me to explain why certain things work the way they do. They feel like, many of you feel like I can relate, or you can relate to me, vice versa. I have arthritis. Is it okay for me to use the machine? Okay, so the definition of arthritis is it's technically just the inflammation of a joint. If you have the inflammation of a knee joint, if you have the inflammation of a shoulder joint, if you have the inflammation of your spine, osteoarthritis is the inflammation in the bone in a joint. So if our machines that we know on some level, can't tell you that it's going to cure you, but on some level will lower levels of inflammation by lowering stress hormones in the body, by calming things down, absolutely get on one and go with it. Now, what we are going to run into problems with, and so many of you have commented about SI joint pain. And if you have osteoarthritis in your spine, if you have osteoarthritis in your hips or in your knees, you're going to have pain in your hips if you are not stabilizing here in your lower belly region. And many of you guys have no idea what it's like to feel that for the first time. So one thing that I show you all in a lot of my videos with Life Pro is the squishy ball, which unfortunately is not one thing that we offer, but you don't have to have Amber's green squishy ball. You just have to have something that you can put in between your legs that you can squeeze that will give back to you. So when you put the squishy ball or a rolled up towel in between your legs and you squeeze, it's going to contract all of these muscles here on the inner part of your body, which also includes your pelvic floor. And then what I want you to think about is having to use the bathroom really, really bad, and you just got to hold it. When you do that and you breathe at the same time, now we're generating this vacuum of pressure, which stabilizes. And that's what takes the pain off of the hips, because we're now using our glutes, our inner thighs, our groin, our deep, deep pelvic stabilizers, our deep abdominals. And in doing that, many of you have never felt that before. So that's going to be very important. It was one of the first things I had to learn when I was learning to walk again with 8 spinal injuries, but it finally clicked. And then I was starting to get better and better. So if you're not using these deep lower abdominal muscles, you need to go back and watch the video that I did several months ago about pelvic floor strengthening. And that's, if you go to the Life Pro Facebook page, or you can even probably find it on YouTube, and you're going to search in the top little magnifying glass at the top of the screen, type in Amber pelvic, and just those two words, and anything that has that in the title will pop up. And I try and title all my videos so you have an idea how to find them. But those of you who have arthritis in your hips or in your knees, you might have pain from a seated position. So just make sure that you're using something to squeeze your legs and to activate all of this energy. So yes, the short answer is yes, you can use any of our devices for arthritis because it's just the inflammation in a joint and we're swelling down. Can type 2 diabetics use this machine? Yes, it's going to change your metabolism. So you have to make sure that you're monitoring your blood glucose numbers. So I would make sure that, because it's going to change. I know when I first started using the devices, my appetite changed. My appetite suppression went up. And so those of you who have type 2 diabetes, or even type 1 diabetes for that matter, if you've got kids at home who are wanting to use the device, yes, use it, because it's helping you to build muscle mass, which naturally will help with metabolism. But just make sure that you are checking your blood glucose numbers pretty regularly, as you already should be doing, so that you know how to adjust your levels and your diet as needed, and the dose of the session on the platform, if that's what you're doing.
Hold up.
Yeah, go ahead.
To clarify, the term is not Facebook page, it is a Facebook group. The reason I have to clarify that is there is Facebook called a page, where you have just a page. Then there's something called a Facebook community. So some of you are either watching on YouTube or on the page or on the group. So when Amber mentioned earlier about the magnifying glass of finding it, this will only happen within the group. Okay, so on the page, there's no search button. You're just going to find yourself on Mars. It's only searchable in the group. I hope I explained it. Just to clarify, to avoid confusion for those who are already started searching the page.
Sure. But one thing you can do, if you go to the actual Facebook page and click on videos, it will pull up every video that we have ever posted, even from other testimonials from other consumers. So that's another very quick way just to scroll down and just see what videos are available. Because if you're on the actual group page, if you're in the group, and you're just searching for that one video, you're missing out on the plethora of all the other amazing videos that we already have. And then, you know, the sky's the limit there. We good? Yep. Okay. This next question, I'm going to tell you what it says, and it has to do with Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm going to tell you on this one. This one you need to talk to your neurologist. This one's a tough one, because if you have somebody who has Alzheimer or dementia, they already have
skip one question.
Oh, sorry.
Number 3.
Okay, got it. I have psoriatic arthritis. Would this help? Yes, because it's an autoimmune disease and any autoimmune condition. And anything that we can do to lower level of inflammation, you just don't want to use it on a very high level until you can figure out how you are adjusting. That being said, when we're using it for anti-inflammatory benefits, we're trying to lower levels of inflammation. We're trying to increase the lymphatic pumps working in the body. There's a good chance that you might start itching, and psoriasis leads to itching, as does area or inflammation in the joints. I can tell you, if I get on my device every day, or even if I skip a few days, I itch about every time I get on my device. And that is a form of detox. That's a histamine response. Your body is releasing a lot of toxicity that has been stored and entrapped in your connective tissue fibers. Your body recognizes it as a foreigner and starts to go to battle. And so when that happens, it releases hormones that are referred to as histamines. And when that happens, we start to itch, which is okay. Our body goes through detox in the form of sweat, using the bathroom more frequently. Sometimes you can get a little nauseous. Vomiting, unfortunately, is a way. If you're vomiting, don't continue until you're starting to feel better, because we don't want you vomiting using our machines. That's not what we hope for. So, and your skin is one of your greatest detox organs. So if you're starting to see more oily skin or more acne, and you don't typically have that, and you've been doing some of our programs, that's a sign of detox. So keep going, because your body is trying to cleanse itself, and you're doing something to get that stuff out of your body, which is causing the inflammation. So definitely, yes, it will help. Just keep the doses smaller, keep your sessions less intensity, and keep your sessions shorter as you're getting started. So if you're just now getting started, let's just try 5 minutes and see what 5 minutes feels like. And if you don't have any issues and you start from a seated position, then go to a standing position and try another 5 minutes. And then after you do those 2 5-minute sessions, that's it for the day. Wait until you feel the next day, see what you feel like the next day. And if you start to feel really sore or achy or icky, like your body, you've shaken some stuff up, which is good, because what we are doing day to day, our body gets stagnant, and all we have to have is a little extra stress in our body, and that just sends us whoop over the edge. So just adjust as you need to, and keep the levels low for inflammation purposes. Okay, Alzheimer's and dementia, number 4. So going back to what I was saying, this one is a tough one, because anybody who has Alzheimer or dementia, it is a brain specific problem. But individuals who have dementia or Alzheimer's are very disoriented. They have issues with memory. They have issues with where they're at in the room. They might recognize you as family or as friends, but they can become very disoriented quick. And so if you are wanting to approach using the devices with dementia of any form, not just Alzheimer related dementia, but dementia can come in the form of many different types. If you have a loved one who is wanting to do this, you need to talk with their neurologist and with their physician, and make sure of what to look out for, to make sure that you are ready if something should happen that you're not used to happening. Because with Alzheimer's and dementia, anything can happen, and it all is existent in the neural pathways of the brain. And that is a miraculous structure that we just cannot predict what's going to happen. And we're not medical providers on that level. I'm not a medical level provider on that level. So you really need to seek out your physician and make sure. But when you talk to your physician, make sure and let them know that it's a low level of whole body vibration. It is not your commercial medical grade whole body vibration platform. And the difference in the hertz is it's night and day different. And so you're going to get, micro doses, which is great because your body can adjust to it. But if they've seen research on that in the past, it's not the same machines that were used in research studies in the past. Our machines haven't been out that long. And to my knowledge, Joel, we don't have a lot of research studies being conducted at this very moment, correct? That's a no. Got it. Okay. Spinal fusion, number 6. If you have had a spinal fusion surgery, if you have had a cervical spinal fusion surgery, start from a seated position. Either way, start from a seated position. And what I would suggest with spinal fusion in the cervical region is just getting your shoulders moving, because your neck, if it's fused, your neck isn't supposed to move at that point. But anytime you have stiffness in the neck from lack of mobility, you're going to have major stiff shoulders. And it's just going to continue to trickle down. Whatever the cervical spine cannot do, the lumbar spine has to make up for, and vice versa. So if you've had a spinal fusion surgery in the lumbar spine, the cervical spine has to make up for what the lumbar spine cannot do movement-wise. Our thoracic spine, so from here to here, is responsible for this rotational chopping rotation, okay? So you should be fine on low levels, okay? But I would start again from a seated position, because anytime you have surgery, we have adhesions that are created from where the scar, where the incision line is. It doesn't matter if it was a scope procedure or whether it was full on open surgery. So just make sure when we have scars, we create tension elsewhere in the body. And so the idea isn't to get you mobile where your spinal fusion is, it's to get everything else mobile. And so if the machine can do that for you, then your quality of life is going to go up. So definitely give it a try, start low level. Now, if you are fresh out of spinal fusion surgery, you need to hold off and make sure that your physician gives you the okay, because when we have spinal fusion surgery up here in the neck, most of the time they go through the throat or through the front of the neck in order to fuse this, and that's really close to the brain. So blood clots, things like that, a lot of venous and arterial supply right here. So we want to make sure that we're safe about this. So make sure and talk to your physician and that you're able to go back to basic exercise. If your doctor tells you that you're able to go back to walking and regular exercise, then you should have no trouble at all with our vibration platforms, because they're not the intensity of the medical grade platforms. So hopefully that helps that question. Okay, hip flexor mobility. Let's talk about hip flexors. Most people think that hip flexors are this area right here. Your most powerful hip flexor actually starts up here. It is your psoas muscle, and it starts by fusing from lumbar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it crosses over the front of the pelvis, and then it attaches right here on the inside of the thigh. I actually have a graphic of this. And so this is really important to understand, because I don't think many of you understand the power of your hip flexors. Most people think the hip flexors are more in the thigh, and they're really a lot more integrated than that. So this is the most powerful hip flexor we have, and that is the psoas muscle. Okay, so you can see where that lies, right up here. Okay, the reason why that is important is because in a seated position all day long, that psoas muscle stays very short. So we want to make sure that if you're not moving throughout the day from a seated position, the job of the psoas, the hip flexor muscles up in here, most powerful muscle in the human body, its job is to bring the upper body energy together with the lower body energy. It also interacts and attaches into the diaphragm, which controls your breathing. And it also has all your organs that sit right on top of it. So it has a tremendous amount of power. And so when we lie down at night and curl up, when we sit at our computers all day and do the T-Rex, what I like to refer to that as, anything that we can do to open up the other direction is going to help with the hip flexor. So when you are on your device, let me get something out here real quick. This is just the waiver press right here. Okay. And I'm going to turn this on so you can get just a general glimpse. I'm not picking a specific program. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from here. So if the upper body is brought together with the lower body, all we have to do is open up. So instead of being here in our little T-Rex, in our driving position, we have to open up the other way. Squeeze those butt cheeks, okay? So let's just put one foot up here, okay? Take the hands up, push the ceiling away from you, okay? And just do some leaning side to side while you're vibrating, okay? And that automatically is gonna help with your hip flexors, okay? Just doing this right here, okay? If you want a deeper hip flexor position, you're gonna take a bigger step back as long as you have the balance to hold that capacity, okay? So we're here, leaning back and forth, okay? So the secret to working hip flexors is to making sure that you're doing whatever it takes to separate the rib cage from the hip, because it brings it together and it attaches right here, okay? So anything that separates that will help. So there's really no rules to that. If you want to get on your device on your knees, take your hands up right here and just vibrate here. This will open those hip flexors. What most of you might not understand, and I know Joel does understand this, anytime we have a muscle shortening, we have another muscle that lengthens, okay? If your psoas and hip flexors are shortening, then that means your butt muscle is very loose. So in order to stretch this out, when you open up and get long, all you have to do is tighten, like squeeze your butt cheek like you're holding a $100 bill in your butt crack, or like you're getting ready to get whacked. Like tighten them butt cheeks And this automatically will lengthen just by itself. But then when you take your hands overhead and add to that, that's when you're going to feel it even deeper. Okay. So the most important hip flexor that you can work on is this one right here, because it is your number one fight or flight stress muscle. So if you're mentally stressed, spiritually stressed, physically stressed, sitting down, driving, get into a car accident, Joel, okay, any of those, this is going to be the first thing that clamps down along with this. Okay. So cervical, lumbar work together. If this is tight, this is tight. So we got to open everything up. All right. So there's my tidbit on hip flexor mobility.
I'm going to try to post a photo of my favorite stretch. I
There
tried
you
to
go.
put it. You can see it a little on the border.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So I have that one right here. See, I'm telling you, genius minds, we think alike, dude, and I'm loving this. Yeah, that's it right there, right? Uh-huh. That it? We're on the same page. Love it. Okay. I have carpal tunnel syndrome, CTS. Yes. In fact, I have a lot of clients who take home one of my platforms to borrow for a week just to see if it helps, and it makes a huge difference. The other thing that is awesome for carpal tunnel syndrome is our massage guns. They will help out tremendously with that. I have one right here, and this is one of our entry-level models. So what you can do, doesn't really make any difference which tip you use, just get some vibration going through there. Now, the thing to remember with carpal tunnel syndrome is we have the carpal tunnel lies right here deep in the wrist, and we have lots of carpal bones that kind of rock and roll into position, and all the muscles that move the hands when we're typing or using our devices, all those muscles originate up in here. And so most people, these muscles are not strong, and so they just go kaput. And when that happens, the tendons start to swell, and a tendon is what attaches the muscle to the bone. So if you are having numbness, tingling, cramping going on in the hands, make sure that you are working on this up here, not so much in the hands down here, because the hands are not the problem. I'm telling you right now, wherever you have pain is typically never the source of your problem. So we got to figure out where the problem is coming from. And I'll tell you, a lot of times it's from this position right here where we're all hunched forward instead of open. And the reason for that is because as we get short through here, everything gets short. So again, open up, work on those stretches when you're sitting at your desk, okay? Giving a little prayer, giving a little flip, going diving in, giving another little flip, pulling those fingers back, okay? All of that, whatever you can do to work out those muscles. And then we turn on our massage gun. Oops, I gotta power this one on. I hope you know what I've done? This one, I've overused this one. This one's dead. Give me 1 second. Keep with me here. I've got all of them right here. Joel is so kind to send me these different models to tell him what's good and make recommendations to all of you as to which ones you need. So let's try this one. We're in good shape. Okay, so as you can hear, very, very quiet. Okay, just work nice and easy. Okay, slower is better. When you go too fast, the body can't adjust. Like you don't give the muscle time to absorb that energy to be able to let go. So just very, very slow. And right now I'm using what I call the soft springy tip. Okay, so it's really good for going over bony areas versus something that's hard. Okay, now if you can notice, I'm opening my hand, closing my hand. And the reason for that, I'm creating a pump here at the same time that I'm releasing toxins and getting blood flow going through there. Okay, and so those muscles can start to absorb that energy, and then things get lighter. Now, the other thing, that's just a very short tutorial on how to use massage gun for carpal tunnel. The other thing that I do with the device is if you get on your hands and knees, or you can put this up on a table. I actually sent this home with a client and told him, because he couldn't get down on the floor. Like, put the device on your table and just lay your hands on it and just let it work. So a lot of our devices you can do this with. I'm not picking a specific program, I'm just going with it. All right. So just putting your hands here, okay? And from here, make sure that you're loosening up the neck and shoulders, because everything comes together as one whole unit, okay? And as you do this for a couple of minutes, we're going to turn our hands to the outside. When you turn your hands to the outside, doing the same thing, loosening up the shoulders, loosening up our neck, turning our head side to side, okay? And if you do that for a few minutes, slowly try and figure out how far around you can get. And if you can get your arms all the way around without causing extra pain, this right here is an incredible stretch. And when you're absorbing the vibration at the same time, it is very powerful. So this would be another really good exercise to do for carpal tunnel syndrome. As many of you know, we also have the hand exerciser, or massager, I should say. So if you don't have one of these yet, when you turn these on, if your hands are swollen because they're cramping, this is, let me turn this on here. Oh, I'm telling you what, Joel, I'm using all your stuff. Everything's dead. So sorry. That needs to go back into the charge compartment. Either that or my family has been sneaking these out from underneath of me, and then they put them back not charged, because I'm usually on top of this stuff. But anyhow, you're going to slide your hand in here, and basically little fingers at the end, and there's a little mound in here. And so when you turn this on, it starts to contract and relax and massage and pump, and it just feels really, really good. And some of you with carpal tunnel, it happens because your hands are just really tired and swollen. And so if when you go in there, of course, you keep your hand flat. If you're not sleeping with a wrist support, you might consider that, or you might consider the arthritis gloves that have no fingers. That can also help with carpal tunnel with our devices. So if your hands are really sensitive trying to use our devices, try the arthritis gloves. You can find them on Amazon. Just type in arthritis gloves, and they're just a spandex glove for compression to give more blood flow, more blood circulation. And if you have not seen a physician yet, and you have not gotten yourself a splint, a support brace that comes up to about here, that you can just sleep in, it keeps your wrist from curling under. And when your wrist curls under, the nerves really swell because of the compression from under in that fetal position that we all do so well at night. It keeps everything nice and open so that your body can recover with adequate blood flow. That's the whole point of that. Yes.
You also have, this is coming very soon. We're going to be calling them the Serenity Rings.
Ooh, I like.
So, talking on the subject of arthritis, and so basically it's a pringly, okay, I don't know if anyone can see me, but you see these rings?
You should give yourself the screen. Give yourself the screen and show everybody. I'll take a break. There you go.
All right, so you see these pringly, let me show you. Right over there.
Brass knuckles, my friends.
And you roll up and down. And these give tremendous relief. So they're coming
That's very,
soon.
very cool. That's very cool. Okay. We are moving on to one of the more common things that I hear about, multiple sclerosis. Let me tell you what about multiple sclerosis. I'm the oldest of 4 blood relative sisters, brothers, and my sister has full-blown multiple sclerosis, has had it since she was in her 20s. And so I understand firsthand what MS does to the mind and the spirit and the body. And I can tell you that we have had so many people reach out to us, and Joel can confirm this. We've had so many people reach out to us that have MS, that have been on our platforms and are doing fantastic with it. And in many of those cases, it is reversing the severity of their symptoms, if not eliminating their symptoms. We're not saying that you can cure your symptoms, but it is making a huge difference. Dr. Wall, being one of the top MS specialists in the world, did a wonderful testimonial video on her own after she received one of our devices and used it for a very short time, just sitting on her couch at home. And funny enough, Joel, I actually watched her video before she had actually received one of our devices, just to learn more about MS with my sister. And she was doing a lot of different things, but before she had started using our device, she was in an electric bound wheelchair. And now, my friends, she is riding her bike to work and is using a cane to walk through the hallways to getting back to working with her patients. Like, I don't know what more of research you want, but I can tell you it's not going to cause further problems, necessarily exasperate symptoms, because we're breaking free those adhesed fascial connections so that the body can thrive the way that it's supposed to. When we are bound down and we're held together with a bunch of rubber bands, like a big rubber ball covered in like 500 rubber bands, and we can't move, nothing works. And so when we can open everything up and get better circulation, our brain can communicate better with our peripherals, and our fascia can do what it's supposed to do to help us thrive. That's what our machines do. And so, if you have cramping, I know with my sister, she gets the tingling in the hands. The hand massager feels really good for her. If you've got compromised circulation in your Piggly Wigglies, then you can use our compression boots. Best system on the planet. Super reasonable price, less than $100, and versus the $1,000 systems that are out there. Oh, you've got yours too. Look at you go. So if you don't already have the compression boots, it's like I put those on my mom when I was out in Arizona and her friends, and I'm like, tell me what you feel, because she never felt it before. She had no idea that technology even existed. And I said, tell me what you feel. And she said, it's like going for a pedicure every day. Like, how'd you do that? And I said, because Joel's a freaking genius. They feel really, really good. So if you're one who likes to have a nice massage on your legs and on your feet, but because you don't want somebody to touch you, because people with autoimmune dysfunction or who have neuropathy, those individuals hate having their feet touched. It's very painful for those people. I work with those people all the time, and it's a very fine line trying to make contact and making sure they can see that I'm making contact, and just the right amount of pressure to making sure that it's therapeutic as opposed to hyper-stimulating is very important. But with the boots, you're in control. It has this wireless remote. So wireless meaning it doesn't have to be plugged into the wall in order to be charging. But it's already got preset programs on here. It's got heat. So you can just press the button and just sit there and chill out. It's awesome. So MS, yes, you can use a lot of our devices for multiple sclerosis to help with symptoms, with pain, to possibly reverse some of your symptoms. And so, yeah, so I think that's definitely something to consider.
So Amber, I was showing you that.
That's a different boot.
Yes. So what we're trying to do is, instead of having a handheld remote, what happens was there were some people that didn't like all the
cords.
Yes. So we're in the middle of finishing up a cordless design. That means
nice.
If nothing else, is rechargeable also, and it is no cords whatsoever.
Yeah, so this can get a little frustrating for people, but until then, I'm telling you what, the like $90-something with the lifetime warranty, you cannot beat that, my friends. Even if you just want to buy it for your loved one for Valentine's Day, you don't want to give your loved one a massage, but you really think they deserve one. Even if they don't deserve one, buy them anyways. Okay, fibromyalgia. So I have fibromyalgia. And fibromyalgia is different for everybody. It can be a very, very painful condition. And it was for me. And my condition was brought on because of a car accident. So sorry, Joel. I'm going to have to say a few prayers for you to make sure that you wake up tomorrow feeling 100% normal, because for me, it was instant pain. And if you have never met somebody with fibromyalgia or have never spent your time with somebody, they can't handle touch very well. My husband and I were only married for about 9 months at the time. And if he just went to put his hand on my thigh, it felt like I was getting stung by a swarm of hornets. It's very, very painful. And so it is a miscommunication between the brain and the connective tissue and the muscles. Basically, your body doesn't have any control as to what you are sensing. The body or the brain thinks that there's something wrong with you, when in fact there's really nothing wrong with you. It's just the electrical. We'll just say that if you get into a situation which you have fibro, imagine telephone wires from one telephone pole to the next to your phone outlet. You know, the old school phones, right? Let's say that they get kinked along the way, and that signal is really delayed, but not very thorough, all in the same, and you can't get a message from point A to point B. That's similar to what fibromyalgia is your brain is not effectively communicating with your body about what it feels, where it's at, energy levels, hormone release. There's a lot of stuff that goes into diagnosing fibromyalgia. But what I can tell you is with me using the devices, I'm completely pain-free. I have no pain and I don't medicate. Does fibromyalgia ever go away? It depends on who you ask. If you ask a rheumatologist, no, it doesn't go away, because that's what a rheumatologist studies. But I will tell you that they tried to give me every pill imaginable back then that they were testing. So I've had Lyrica, I've had Neurontin, which is now gabapentin. I've had all that stuff. I was taking 8 to 10 Percocet a day. I was on Cymbalta for depression. There's a lot of stuff that goes into fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, all that good stuff. We don't even want to go there. But nonetheless, with all of that, it was me getting moving and getting, doing the Eastern therapies. So the cupping and the massage and exercise. And back then, we didn't have access to vibration. So, but I can tell you the first day that I got on my unit after Joel sent me my unit, it was very painful for probably 2 or 3 days. And that's after not having that fibromyalgia pain for a while. I kind of shook the system up a little bit, which is good. But I didn't move very comfortably for a few days after that. But my friends, I've been so much better ever since. Like, I don't have pain on a normal daily basis. The only symptoms that I deal with, I get tired. Depression is a choice in some ways. You choose to be happy. You have to figure out your way to finding happiness. But if you are able to find ways to become more energetic, and inflammation makes you much more tired in how your body regulates. I get energy in the morning by getting on the device. I get energy in the middle of the day when I really need an extra jump start before I get tired at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I get on the device and it gives me more energy. When I'm getting ready to go to bed at night and I'm exhausted and my body actually starts to hurt because I have worked so many hours and doing so many different things, I get on the vibration platform on a low level and let it calm everything down so that I can sleep at night. And so you can use it for a variety of different things. For some people, fibromyalgia can go away, and for some people, it just doesn't. But it is typically stress-induced, and for me, it was physical and mental stress that caused mine. So that's fibromyalgia. It's different for everybody.
Right. Wait, time
yes.
out. Is this the timeout sign?
Yep. Yes, sir. That's time. Yeah, we're going to call that. That's technically a T, but we're going to call it time.
Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do next, we're going to stop the pre-submitted questions and we'll come back to it maybe next week. What I want to give a chance is for all those amazing over 100 live listeners right now.
Oh, wow.
Moment. So I put up the chat. Now, let me just give you a little preview. I know that many of you asked some questions earlier on. So if you're still on live, the live chat does not show history. So just, if you don't mind to retype it so we see it on the screen. Number one. Number two, I put up the photo of my favorite psoas stretch. And you can see right here on the bottom right side how the psoas will, when you get into this lunge position, your psoas muscle will stretch. It's a very intense one. But
so ease into it.
Right. Right. So the progressions, Amber demonstrated a lot of great, oops, it's gone. Amber demonstrated many great suggestions, but this is one of my favorite ones and it works very well. And okay, so let's start with this chat and then we'll go back to, whoa.
Wow.
Okay. So let's start from the bottom. Wait, did it disappear? Oh my gosh.
I
All
see
right.
a question for Amber in the Farewell 2020 workout. You mentioned after 20 minutes of high intensity, your body releases hormones that reduce fat burning. Yes, that is called cortisol and norepinephrine. It takes 20 minutes for those to kick in. So you can get on your device for 20 minutes at a time. After 20 minutes of high steady state exercise, your body starts to release stress hormones in order to engage in the glycolytic system for energy and oxidation to be able to give you enough energy to keep going in a state of survival mode. So instead of your body actually blasting fat for that energy, your body actually breaks down glycogen and sugar. And when it runs out of that, it'll break down muscle before it will release fat, because you can live on fat for forever, basically. Even if your muscles are deteriorating in the process, that technically is what leads to adrenal gland fatigue, which I have personally experienced, and it's not fun.
Okay,
So
wait.
20 minutes. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
20 minutes is why we are real, you know, if you watch a lot of my videos, I have a timer that says 20 minutes. And when 20 minutes goes off, I am now engaging into recovery type exercises. So can you still use the platform another 10 minutes? Yes, you can, but it has to be on a very low level of intensity. And for me, I don't actually stand on it. I either lay my legs on it, or I'll sit on it, or I'll sit like I'm sitting now with my feet on it. I don't go 30 minutes straight through from a standing vertical position, because my body has already had more than enough. If anything, just do it in the morning or in the earlier part of your day. And if you're really diehard adamant about getting that extra exercise in, give yourself 8 hours and kick it on in later in the day if you have the time. But don't push yourself beyond that 30-minute threshold all at the same time, because you're just creating more inflammation.
Okay, so I see the questions coming in, but I guess I'm gonna have to do it a little different. So I'm gonna read the question to you.
Okay.
So Latrice, can the vibration plate help with small intestinal bacteria overgrowth? I'm not familiar with it.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I mean,
so by the way,
I know what it is, but I have no idea, because I am not, that is so outside of what I work with.
okay, so by the way, our responses are only limited to our experience and exposure. Number one. Number two, we are not medical professionals. We're not doctors. We're not chiropractors. We're not any other title that you want to give us besides, you know, our Amber and our basic certifications and experience. So as much as we want to answer every question, there is a limitation. You should always, I just have to cross that out, that you should know.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Ban Mora, what about lipedema? Lipedema, not lymphedema, like how your body swells, but lipedema. Actually, guys, Debbie is the person to talk about with that, because that is her expertise. That is where she really spends a lot of time. So Joel, you'll need to tag her in our group and ask her that question. Oh, is she here? So Debbie says it's great. Okay, and if Debbie says it's great, then it's great.
It is. But yeah, that is unfortunately not my expertise, but Debbie rocks. So definitely reach out to her and ask her what you need for that, using the LifePro devices, because she's been doing it for decades, and that's her niche.
Okay, so Barbara Payne, what do you recommend for frozen shoulder?
Okay, get moving. Easier said than done. So one thing that you can do is just standing vertical on your platform. So if I'm standing, okay, and I've got things going, and it doesn't matter which platform, there's not one specific, just get on one, okay? And just try, and as much as frozen shoulder is not fun, just trying to move your arms. If you can't, you're going to reach down to try and touch the floor, and you're going to use your lower body. You want to be an elephant, and you're starving for peanuts. So you need to go searching for peanuts with your arms, because we're using gravity and we're using vibration right here to do this. And we can create ourselves windshield wipers, right? Windshield wipers. And then if you have been going through physical therapy and you have your therapy pole, and you can work your range of motion side to side. But again, I like this right here. The other exercise that I love to do, and I do this with a lot of athletes, but I've also had a lot of people with frozen shoulder that get on here and do this. It's the same one I just did. You just put your hands down here and just let your body absorb the energy. Think about pushing the ceiling off of you. And I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see what that looks like, because it's hard to see it from the other view.
Right.
So,
Also keep in mind, Amber, that I would take a wild guess that I would think that most of our viewers don't know how to protract and retract.
that's correct. So we don't talk like that.
Okay.
So but you nailed it. We are protracting and retracting, but they have no idea what that means. So what I want you to think about doing is you have Amber sitting on your shoulders, and she's going to crush you unless you push her away. Or think about pushing your upper body through the ceiling. Like James Bond has hit the laser that's making the ceiling crash on your shoulders, and you've got to keep the ceiling off of you. So you're pushing, pushing, pushing. And then I want you to think about squeezing an orange with your shoulder blades. Okay, so we're squeezing an orange with our shoulder blades, and then we're pushing the ceiling off of us. Okay, that is just a really easy sequence that you can do at home. I do have a video on there that you can look for, and I used, if I remember right, Joel, it was the Waver Mini that I showed for shoulder exercises. So that's a really good video to look for in our group and on our page.
Okay, so today, I'm going to remind you, I had an accident. I don't remember what a Waver Mini looks like. I'm kidding.
Do you want me to
I
grab
have no
mine?
idea which one.
Okay. Okay.
No,
don't. I think I have like 12 units surrounding me. I could like sleep in the middle of vibration. Isn't that crazy? It's like the best thing ever.
So give me 1 second. Let's jump to the next one. We have Sheila Morris. Which of the 8 programs would be best for helping with insulin?
That's a tough question because everybody is so different. You're going to need to play around with that a little bit. Start with a low-level preset program. And as long as you don't have any kind of a challenge with regulating your blood sugar levels and your insulin, you can continue to increase. But if you start to notice that you are not adjusting in the desirable way, then you want to back your way back down through the preset programs. I'm telling you, my friends, the preset programs are so convenient. I have so many people that comment, I just want something more exciting. Like, I don't like to think when I get on these devices because they feel so good. Like, and we think, do you know how many decisions you make a day, Joel? Do you know how many decisions? 30,000 decisions a day.
I know. And so it's funny, that subject.
Don't think when you get on it.
Right.
Do it.
So on the subject of decisions, if anyone noticed that I had the same sweatshirt for the last 7 lives, and you know what? You know why I have this? First of all, it's not the same, but it's just the same. I have several of the same because I was sick. No, I was sick and tired of making decisions. I grab it. I don't think. This is what I like. This is what I'm going to wear. It's actually something that I'm studying, that to eliminate choices out of my life and just
keep things simple.
Yeah. So it's a whole exercise for yourself. So yeah, that's the answer why many of you notice the same sweatshirt. To eliminate
I didn't notice,
decisions.
so I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yes. To eliminate decisions. Kara. Oh no. Can this help? I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I apologize. Can this help with fat loss? Absolutely. No question about it.
Let me show you that. I'm not going to show you the science behind this. I'm going to show you a true life photo here. This was me 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Over 200 pounds 2 years ago. And then that was because of a bunch of hormone challenges. This was a year ago. A year ago this month. A year ago. 198 pounds. And this is, well, you see me now. This is me now. Feeling fantastic. I haven't done, if you are on the Life Pro page or the Life Pro group, however you want to look at, YouTube, there's so many different videos that I have taught. I have not done anything extra other than standing on our devices, 4 to 5 times a week at the beginning. And now I'm lucky to really force myself to get on it for fitness purposes, you know, 3 to 4 times a week. I still get on it for anti-inflammatory purposes, you know, because it's a very calming treatment. But I don't exercise. You know, I used to exercise 2 hours every day. I'm lucky to get in like 30 minutes of exercise on my own when I'm on camera with, you know, teaching the workouts for you guys. So you don't have to work out harder in order to lose the fat. You just have to get it out of the box and get it on and actually get on the machine and use it.
Debbie, thank you for these videos. Yes, you're welcome. We love you too. Ellie, any suggestions for slap tears in shoulder and arm?
So that all depends on if you're having it surgically fixed, because most slap tears, you're going to have a surgical repair. You're going to need to do your physical therapy, which I will tell you for shoulder surgery, physical therapy is a rough path, but very well worth it. But the one thing that you can do is you can use our massage guns. You can stand on the vibration platform right after surgery. My stepdad just had a slap tear repaired in his shoulder, and I was at his home about 6 weeks after surgery. I had him down on his hands and knees, you know, using the opposite arm, because if you have something going on with one shoulder, it ultimately affects the other one. So even if this one is stuck in a sling, you can still use the other one on a gentle basis. But just standing on it from an inflammation level will lower the inflammation, lower pain, because the connective tissue is 10 times more receptive to pain and emotion than a nerve or a muscle. So if you can just get on it and just experience the vibration, it helps with the depression associated with those kind of injuries, which therefore accelerates the rehab. If you are more positive minded with your process, then the rehab happens and the healing time comes much faster. The studies can prove that.
Mana, how about balance and stability in MS?
Yes, it does help with that. But when you're getting started, start from a seated position, working to a standing position. And I would highly recommend if you can work from a barefoot standpoint, as long as your body is not hypersensitive. Barefoot training is really important, because I know many of you have mentioned, why do the manuals say to wear shoes? The reason for that is because before Joel had found out from me that, you know, all of these micro cells are on the bottom of your feet, giving your brain feedback about where you're at balance-wise in space. Like, he didn't know that. And it was just, for years, we've always been told as fitness wellness professionals to wear shoes for stability when you exercise. So it's more of a safety thing. Before we were, you know, looking more into manuals or looking more into other alternative ideas. Now you're going to start to see a lot of people, especially in the weight room, you're going to start to seeing people doing more barefoot weightlifting, because the more that you stabilize from the ground up, the better your whole body stacks while integrating strength throughout, you know, all of your muscles. So your feet are super powerful. So if you work with your feet on the device, just working the foot muscles, I did a video about this just a few days ago. I think it was last week, actually. It's a video that's plantar fasciitis and barefoot training. I did it last week. So go back on our page and locate that, because it's very, very powerful video about how I train my clients barefoot and for the reasoning behind that and the program to use with our devices to do that. But yes, it will help with balance associated with MS. My sister has drop foot, so she has a very hard time picking her foot up. One cool thing that you can do, an isometric contraction, means that you are activating the muscle, but you're not shortening or lengthening it. So imagine having 2 walls by you and you push, 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 push on the walls, but you don't go anywhere. Like, that's what we call an isometric contraction. If you can create that in the foot, it's the second fastest way to get strong. The fastest way to get strong is what we call eccentric loading, which is pretty much what you're doing when you drop the foot and then you can't shorten it to pick it back up. But what you can do is working with a band or working with a towel, is working on holding that foot in that position, contracting that muscle, you know, keeping it firing and letting your body absorb that vibrational energy. And you'll be surprised how quick things can start to change for you. But make sure that you have areas around you that you can balance, because anytime that you already have balance problems, you want to make sure that your platform is not just out in the middle of a room, because we don't want you to face plant and then you're having to call for help because we told you to practice balance on our device.
100%, 100%. So
Yeah.
Kimberly says, where can I find more info on the plate? I have one, but would like more info. So Kimberly, if you go through our video library, I can assure you, you're going to turn into an expert. Okay, it's going to take you a few weeks, but you're going to turn into an expert. And keep joining these lives, ask your questions. But really, we already provided all the information. Just got to go through the videos. Just go through subject by subject. Facebook
And
user.
something about that too, Joel, is you know, we've talked about this quite a bit here lately. When you get your owner's manual, because every single device, every massage gun, every pair of boots, every platform, our treadmills, everything comes with an owner's manual. Don't throw that away or throw it in the junk drawer or throw it at the bottom of your desk, because if you read that manual through and through, there are so many secrets in that manual that will help you get the most out of your experience on our platforms and using our other devices. Those of you who have asked, well, what was the preset program for this? What is P1 versus P5 on certain devices, especially on our Rumble X Max. I didn't know anything about what those 16 preset programs were until I opened up the book. And then I'm like, oh, so this is the one I want. If I want all three motors running at the same time at a very high intensity, we got to go P16, man, all the way. If we only want one motor on because it's the max, it's got 3 heavy duty motors, but we only want one running because we want to get used to it, and we're doing it for inflammation purposes, then we're going to look at the book and we're going to see which one has just one motor running, and we have to figure out which one of those feels the best to each of us, because we're all different. It's not so much about what the research studies say about the motors. Figure out what feels good to you, because it matters how you feel, not what the science says. Make sure you feel good. It is not worth saying, okay, I'm supposed to be at like 15 hertz of energy, and then you get on there and you can't handle 10, but you're like, oh, I gotta do this because I want to feel better. Like, it is not worth it, my friends. Like, slowly get yourself into it, because if you love how it feels, who cares what the research says? You're going to go back to it, and it's just going to continue to make you feel better and better. But go back to the manual, because there's so much information there, and we're seeing a lot of the same questions that are, the answers are right there in front of you if you just read through the manual. Super easy.
Right, 100%. Facebook user, can the Rumblex Pro 4D enable improvement for pelvic floor prolapse? So the answer is yes, but Amber, don't speak yet. We made a video in the group. Search it, you will find it, and it applies to all our models. So please watch that video. Okay. Daryl, I have the Rumblex 4D. What is the difference between P1 and P2? It's an alternating program. I am almost sure, no, actually I don't have it there, but it's just a different program.
P2 is way more aggressive than P1.
Right.
If you're wanting to use it, just getting started, the gentlest of all the P levels on the Rumblex 40, the Rumblex Plus, and the Rumblex Pro, the P1 is the gentlest mode. It is the one that I get on at the end of my day. I don't start with it, I end with it for the day. If you're wanting more aggressive, I will tell you the 4D is the most aggressive on P2, in my opinion, than the other Rumblex models. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's the curve, or if it's the size, because all that plays into the energy that comes out of it. But P2 on most all the Rumblex models is most aggressive for me. But again, I have fibromyalgia, so it's going to feel different for me versus somebody who is healthy and has no autoimmune problems. So you're just going to have to tinker around and figure out what feels good to you. I spoke with a woman earlier today who just received her Rumblex, and she said, Amber, that vibration, I hate that vibration. It doesn't feel very good. And I said, okay, then pick a program in manual mode without the vibration motor and just use the other motors together on a very low speed, or choose the vibration by itself on a very low speed and get used to that before you just crank up the energy. Because a lot of you are just wanting to just crank it up because you want results like tomorrow, and it doesn't happen that way. You have to ease into it.
Beard and Bonnie and several others. What about an artificial knee and hip? And the woman on my email thread stating that my chiropractor said that is not good to do with hip replacements or knee replacements. So the answer is it is very, very, very unlikely to cause any issues whatsoever. I can't, how do you say, I cannot get into an argument with the chiropractor. So it's a very dangerous road. But yes, okay.
So here's what you do. Your healthcare is your choice. You have to quarterback your own decisions. Just because they say that it's the best thing for you, dive in and talk to some other individuals who have already tried it, who have artificial joints. I can tell you, my mother has an artificial knee, and she is thriving now better than she has ever been in her adult life since she had her knee replacement done. You can actually go on YouTube and look at what she looked like a year ago, because that, I think that video has like 20,000 views at this point. You can see how miserable she was back then. And then I just did a video of her a year after. She's climbing on ladders, she's riding bikes, but she's on her turbo every single day and she's doing great. It's actually causing her to feel better. I had a gentleman that I've had several gentlemen that I work with who have had total hip replacements. They're doing great. It has to do with how you are stabilizing the core and not stabilizing through the joints ricketing together. So you have to develop that strength. If you're not sure how your body is going to do on it, start again from a seated position. But I will tell you, most chiropractors are going to use the competition or higher. So they're going to be using commercial or medical grade devices that are anywhere from 15,000 on up to 40,000. Debbie can confirm this. It's a totally different level of intensity. Yeah, those are probably not going to feel very good, but these are so low level because, we're knowing that you're all responsible enough to handle such low levels of intensity. You can play around with it, but, you have to, if your chiropractor says, no, you can't do that, call another chiropractor. And if they have no idea what you're talking about, try it and use it on a low level setting. If it makes you feel better, keep trying, because back 8 years ago, or back in 2005, 8 spinal injuries, all the doctors told me, don't do anything. You need to go home and rest. And I gained 50 pounds in 6 months and I didn't move. And the more I didn't move, the worse I felt. And so I started moving and I started trying to do different things just to get moving, even though the doctors told me not to. And what you know, like here we are almost 20 years later, and what are they telling us to do? They're telling us to move because lack of mobility causes us to hurt more. So we learn as we go. So just you have to, it's trial and error, but you have to take responsibility for your own health, because I'm telling you all right now, I'm in the medical field. You're a number. You are a number. They're going to tell you whatever they want to tell you to get you out of the office, because they're hurting in numbers of people in order for insurance to pay them for their time. So no is the short answer.
Okay, so Amber definitely provided a lot of insight. I just want to let you know that it's your decision what to do. Don't get married to our advice. It's for you to explore and do your own homework. If you feel that your chiropractor is you know what I mean, is someone that you respect, then go ahead. We're not going to stop you, but you know what I mean? I just want to let you know that we own it to ourselves to do the research and explore and make our own decisions. I can't make the decisions for you. All right. Tori, I have lupus, dermatomyositis,
rheumatoid arthritis, and 4 additional. You got a lot of autoimmune going on. Got some insulin resistance, probably some metabolic syndrome going on. Yes. So if you have the Rumblex Plus, I can tell you I've had several clients in here who have got on here who have lupus, who have rheumatoid arthritis, who have a combination of them as well, and they love it. Start out easy, because again, you're shaking up the engine, you're getting things moving. So start on either P1 or start P3 from a seated position, or just turn it on to manual mode. I did a video on that last week, how to turn on your device. If you look at Amber in the Raw, I did that one earlier this week in my pajamas, and show you how to turn on the Rumblex Plus or the Rumblex 4D using manual mode, either using the remote or the control panel, and just keep it on a low level of speed and see what feels good to you. But yes, I do have quite a few clients who have come in with lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and have done great with it.
So Debbie is here on the chat, and here's a picture of Debbie. For those who don't know how to find her, and maybe we have like 80 Debbies in this group. So if you search for Debbie and you see this picture, her flexing her muscles, which actually look very nice. She is pushing and she's recommending that the vibration platform is great for lipedema. Okay, so you can always hit her up if you have any questions. She is an expert. All right, I actually want to jump to a question from Instagram that's not showing up here by Nat205. I'm looking at my other screen. Please talk about cellulite and spider veins.
Okay.
But Amber, I warn you, we got to make it very short and sweet.
You got it. Spider veins happen because the valves in our bodies don't open and close the way that they're supposed to. So can the devices help with spider veins? Yes, in order to help with facilitating better circulation. It will not necessarily make your spider veins go away. It will not help varicose veins go away. If you have a massage gun, do not massage gun around varicose veins or spider veins, because the purpose of the veins is the valves are closing, so you're just like baiting them in, like you're just compressing and creating more inflammation. So you don't want to directly use the mechanical vibration with the massage gun over a varicose vein or over a spider vein. Work in the areas around it if you're using massage gun. If you're using the compression boots, they're fantastic. For cellulite, yes, it will help for cellulite. You will see a difference in the cellulite because you're releasing the fascia, and the fascia is what connects the fat to the muscle to the skin. And when the fascia is tight and compressed and adheres and not moving, you see your fat in the form of cellulite instead of actually seeing your muscle and your skin. So you're not seeing that separation. So yes, when you can lengthen your connective tissue, then cellulite gets better, but it might look worse before it looks better. So don't give up.
Okay, so actually I want to take 1 second a break and talk about YouTube. Who is watching from YouTube? Okay, let me see a couple of viewers from there. So I just want to let you know, came up a question. Not everyone notices when a live video comes up or when a new educational video gets posted. So the easiest way, if you have YouTube, as of now, that's going to be the easiest way to be notified as soon as our newest educational video comes up. So when you go to YouTube, I'll post a link in a moment. So basically, you hit subscribe, and as soon as you hit subscribe, what happens is when a new video pops up, you will get notified. So Ellie, am I right? I believe that's how it works. That's how it works for me. I'm not an expert on YouTube, but when you hit subscribe, you'll get notified. So give me, yes, okay? So I'm just letting you know for any future live videos and educational content. Rosa, do you recommend the boot for someone who have had a stroke?
The answer to that is it comes down to how recent. So talk to your physician, and if you can receive a massage, if your physician says that it's safe for you to receive a massage, then you're fine using the boots.
Okay, so I actually want to highlight what Debbie mentioned. FYI, I am not a lipedema expert, okay? I'm sorry, but support the community and Dr. Karen Herbst and her initiative using vibration plates. Yes, so Karen Herbst is the expert, but my expertise is in vibration plates, and I work as a consultant, right? So yes, thank you for clarifying, Debbie. Bonnie, hanging from the rafters in the basement or vertical bar is great for frozen shoulder. I agree up to a certain point, meaning if you're in a extreme pain, right?
If you can get there.
Right, so it's not gonna work if you are, right, exactly, right. Frozen shoulder at different levels. But thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate you taking the time to provide insight.
And Bonnie, I just want to say, Bonnie, that girl is awesome. She has sent me a few messages in the last couple of weeks just saying how much she loves you and I, Joel. And like when we get those messages, when I get those messages on Messenger, it just like fills up my heart. And you guys all hear that energy is what sucks me under with the fibromyalgia. when you guys send us messages and post messages like that about how you're doing well with what we're sharing with you, that like fills me up with more energy than caffeine can do alone. So
Right.
you
It's
guys are
very
awesome.
important.
Thank you so much for Bonnie.
Right. No, 100% to Bonnie and 100% to everyone. First of all, if everyone is watching, then that means they are finding benefits. Otherwise, we would be speaking to the wall. But that being said, yes, this sharing your feedback is very helpful. Facebook user fell a week ago, whacked my body, but more of an issue. I have a concussion and continue to have a headache with using my eyes, and also with head down and gentle yoga. I haven't tried the Rumbex Pro since the fall, but I'm missing it and wondering what I can do and when. So I think it's a very easy answer. Just sit in a chair, put your feet on it.
On that one, guys, you have to be careful because I specialize in concussion rehabilitation from a sports medicine standpoint. If you have symptoms, if you have headache, if you have blurred vision, if you are nauseous, you want to stay off of the device from a vertical position. If you want to position your legs over the top of it from a seated position, if you can hold yourself up, so if you can sit against the couch and just elevate your legs. Anytime we increase blood flow, blood pressure to the brain through stimulus, we actually increase symptoms at times. But the idea with trying to heal from concussion is trying to lower inflammatory factors in the body. And our devices will do that, but you cannot be vertical on them. And for many of you, because you have symptoms from concussion, sitting upright, even with your legs elevated, might overstimulate you. So if you develop a headache when you're using the device, stop. And I wouldn't get on the device until you are completely free of headaches, because we don't want to increase blood pressure to the brain. It's already under swelling and inflammation levels. So err to the side of caution with that. The other thing with concussions is any kind of visual stimulus or audio stimulus. So if you hear the machine beeping, if you are watching TV, if you're listening to music, if you're trying to read, don't do those things when you're on the device, because those sensory things increase pressure into the brain. And so if you're doing that with the device, you're like sending yourself over the edge. So don't do that. I would just err to the side of caution. And if you have any symptoms, especially a headache, if you have a headache, make sure that your butt is on the ground or sitting in a chair and sitting more away from it so you can chill out and just let it move your legs.
Also, by the way, I'm seeing all these wonderful questions. I want to give you an easy tip. So when you go into the group, remember, not the page, the group, you search a keyword in the magnifying glass. Every question that has been asked so far has been asked already 100 times. While I encourage links, no, I'm not. I just want to sometimes we may not get to every question. So if you just type in a keyword of your question, you will find the answer. I can assure you that you will find the answer in the group. It has been discussed or it has been already videotaped. Okay.
The podcast link is actually in the Facebook group.
I'll give it to you. Right. I'll post it in the comments.
I'm seeing that.
Let's go to the next question quickly. Oh, this is a good one. I like this question. You know why? Watch.
I'm going to let you answer it.
Natty, what is the most effective way to build muscle with the least amount of effort? Not motivate to weight train at the moment. Natty, honestly, I can relate to you right now because I just blew my knee on Sunday. So I'm not motivated to do anything. So actually, Amber answered the question earlier in the video where she did disclose the secret to building muscle the fastest way possible, which is, okay, wait, Amber, I'm going to get to you in a second, is eccentric training. That is the fastest way to build muscle. However, what Amber is demonstrating is the easiest way indeed. So which one is easier? I guess you're right. Standing is easier than eccentric.
Just get on it.
You're right. You're right. I was somewhat answering the question. I guess you're right. Never mind. Standing on it, we'll do it.
Yeah, so let's think about this, because this goes back to the basic fundamentals of whole body vibration and why it works. The body is receptive to vibration. Our body loves vibration. We just don't feel it at the way that we used to when we were younger, because the earth, we've gotten so used to that. So when we get on the vibration platform, And it depends on which platform you're on, and it depends on how compressed everything is in your body, because everybody's a little different. But that vibration, whatever you're in contact with, causes 90% of your muscle spindles in your body to contract and relax more times than you can comprehend on the second. Anywhere from like 10 to 40 times per second, depending on what devices. But the point being, when you do that repetitively, it creates a hypertrophy. It creates the muscle to respond and to grow, causes it to work the way that it is supposed to. And then when you add resistance, if you add rubber bands, and if you add some light dumbbells, and if you add the squishy ball, and you add different things like that, you're just going to increase all of that extra application. You're going to increase the results over time, but just get comfortable and get started, because when you're doing resistance work on top of the device, that's like working out on steroids. No, just it's not like that, but you know what I mean. You're going to burn out a lot faster, and you're going to build muscle. I've gone from being fluffy, because I don't like to use the word fat. I've gone from being fluffy to lean by just using 5 to 10 pound weights and resistance bands and the squishy ball.
We got 4 minutes to go. We're
Okay.
over time as is. Sandy Gaston, thanks for these sessions. I've learned every time I watch. I'm 70, been using the waiver for only 3 weeks and see changes. Knee pain, bone on bone is better. Circulation better, and I'm overweight, and I find my appetite is way less without trying. Yay. Awesome.
Yay. That's so awesome, Sandy. We're so excited for you. Stick with it.
Yes. I'm looking for a good question.
Good, juicy question.
Boom, 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 boom.
I want to answer one really quick.
All right.
Degenerative disc disease. I just want to tell all of you here that are watching, if you are, I have had individuals who are the age of 12 with degenerative disc disease, and everybody in range from 12 all the way up to 90. For the most part, everybody walking the planet has degenerative disc disease because of just how we are with our bodies. Don't let that be the determining factor to not try any of our devices, because degenerative disc disease is basically results from us not moving a certain way. Oh, and it can also happen from us compressing too much and not putting too much wear and tear on the body. So don't be afraid when you hear degenerative disc disease. It's a very scary term. It's not as bad as you think, because most of us walking around at the adult age, and like I said, have had it in kids as well, we all have it, and yet we're still moving. So if you decide not to start moving, and you continue the path you're on, you're going to find that you're going to feel worse. So whatever you got to do, if you got to sit, if you got to stand, if you got to get on your hands and knees, if you got to do different movement patterns that we show in our videos, get moving, because degenerative disc disease is just going to get worse the more you sit. It increases circulation, and vitality lies in the spine. So we want to keep the spine happy.
Okay, so Debbie is sending a reminder. Don't forget to always go here for Amber's videos too. Yes, we have this membership portal. So I'm going to remind everyone, and for those who are new to our live stream, Facebook group is the first place a new video is streamed. Then it goes to YouTube. From YouTube, it either goes to Vimeo or it goes onto the membership site. So eventually it goes on the membership site. It's much more organized than you would find it in the Facebook group. Okay, I think this is it. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we will reconvene next week. Oh, and one more thing. We're going to have a yoga series starting, I think it's this coming week, by Roseanne. So that's going to be very exciting. And
She's awesome.
We're going to make an announcement. All right. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. You have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.